recently, Kyle Neubeck reported that there's mutual interest between the 76ers and Kyle Lowry about the 38-year-old returning next season. But, quote, the sticking point there will be probably come down to money and role. And I don't think that Kyle Lowry wants to be a minimum guy, if I had to guess. This is according to Kyle Neubeck.
Who does?
Yeah. So are we interested in a reunion with Kyle Lowry? And what should Kyle's role be with the team if he does come back?
I mean, it's tough. I mean, I understand what Kyle not wanting to be a minimum player. I mean, he played, last year better than a minimum player, obviously from his perspective. But my thing is the role. I mean, I think that's hard to determine because we don't know what the roster is going to look like. So I think you have to kind of determine your team and determine how, your plans, A, B, and C, or whatever you got planned. And this, free agent and whomever or free agents that we may sign in addition to our players. I don't think you can make that commitment until you know what that looks like. And he may have to be a minimum player if, you're using your cap in different ways. But having him back definitely would help, in my opinion. I just don't think that them going in with him having a major role with if Melton and Maxey are there, and obviously you're going to sign some other guys. I would love to have him, but I just think that in taking up cap space, I need to see the roster first in order to make that decision. Because the reason why is because we still have to. It's a plan going forward. Whatever we're doing is obviously to take us through Joel or whatever's free agency until his free agency. So it's not a 1-year deal. So it's his time frame. So everything has to be on that time frame. If it's a guy that's just a 1-year deal, then 1-year deals, in my opinion, can wait to see how this all plays out.
I mean, for an aging player like that who's approaching 40, I mean, he's got to know, like, he's not a 30-minute-a-game guy, right? So, and like, that's just, you could be, but your knees and your limbs, your joints will be mush by the playoffs. So, like, if you want to join like a contending squad who's going to be playing hopefully 17-day final schedules in June, you got to have somewhat of a more limited role. I mean, we played him a lot, especially in the playoffs. So I would hope he'd be okay with knowingly a lesser role in that. I mean, they're obviously going to talk to him about this. And they're not going to have a filled out roster yet. So it's going to have to be a hypothetical conversation of, hey, this is what we envision going into next year. Personally, I'd like him to be a 15, 20-minute a game guy. Don't overwork him during the regular season. What's the point? Be our backup point guard. Is he fine with that? Is that a role he's interested in? I don't know. Does he still want to be a 25 to 30-minute a game nightly guy until he retires? Maybe. I would hope he'd rather be a 15 to 20-minute a game guy on a contender that might go far into the playoffs rather than a 25, 30-minute game guy on a not so good team. So it's all about what he's at this stage of his career is really comfortable with and what he's accepted as a player and what he's willing to give. And the money side, that's the thing. Like, you're having the conversation of, we envision you as a 15 to 20-minute game guy. We're not going to invest that. I don't know how much more we'll invest outside of the minimum for that, right? So that'll be those two, role and money, will be hand in hand. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's also his hometown, so that hopefully that helps. It makes a difference.
Yeah, between hometown and relationship with Nurse, hopefully that helps as far as, with that.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, last game he played in that last game against the Knicks, I mean, that was the Buddy Hield game. He only played 13 minutes in that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We need an offensive boost, and he barely played that game. So, but every other game he played 25 plus minutes in that Knicks series.
Yeah.